Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to try and solve a bit of a mystery today.
Ooh, a mystery.
Yeah. We're going to explore the life and work of Shinichiro Tomonaga,
Okay.
a Japanese physicist who made groundbreaking contributions to a field you've probably heard of, quantum electrodynamics.
QE.
QED for short.
So basically how light and matter interact.
Exactly. It's one of the fundamental forces in the universe.
Yeah.
And Tomonaga's work in QED was so important that he shared the Nobel Prize for it.
Wow.
But here's the thing. Most people haven't heard of him.
Really?
You ask someone to name a famous physicist, they'll probably say like Einstein or Feynman.
Right.
But not Tomonaga.
Hmm.
So we're on a mission to figure out why this brilliant mind seems to be a bit of a hidden figure in the history of science.
Yeah, that's a good question.
To answer it, we need to start at the beginning.
Okay.
Tomonaga was born in Tokyo in 1906, and his father was a philosopher.
Ooh.
So you can imagine the intellectual atmosphere he grew up in.
Yeah, definitely sets the stage for a curious mind.
And that curiosity led him to Kyoto Imperial University.
Okay.
Now, this place seems to have been a bit of a Nobel Prize factory.
It's true. Tomonaga's classmate there was Hideki Yukawa,
Oh, wow.
who won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1949.
So clearly something special was happening at Kyoto in those days.
Yeah, for sure.
So Tomonaga finishes his undergraduate work, but he doesn't stop there.
Uh-huh.
He stays at Kyoto for graduate school and works as an assistant for a few years.
Okay.
Then in 1931, he joins the Riken Institute to work with Yoshio Nishina, who is doing some really cutting-edge research on cosmic rays.
Nishina was a huge influence on Tomonaga.
Wow.
But for me, the really fascinating part of his story is his time in Leipzig.
Okay.
In 1937, he went to Leipzig University to work with Werner Heisenberg.
Heisenberg, the uncertainty principle guy.
That's the one.
That's like a physics dream team right there.
Well,
What do you think their conversations were like?
it's mind-boggling to imagine Heisenberg was already a Nobel laureate at that point, and Tomonaga was a rising star. The exchange of ideas must have been incredible.
Yeah.
Sadly, this collaboration was cut short when World War II broke out, forcing Tomonaga to return to Japan in 1939.
It's amazing that even with the war going on, Tomonaga managed to complete his PhD from the University of Tokyo based on the work he'd done in Leipzig.
Yeah.
Talk about dedication. But the war did have a significant impact on his research.
Right.
He ended up working on things like magnetrons, which were essential for radar technology.
It's interesting, isn't it? Here you have this brilliant theoretical physicist working on very practical wartime applications. And on top of that, he's still pursuing his own research on Mason theory,
Wow.
trying to understand the particles that hold the atom together. And get this, during this time, he also develops his super many-time theory.
Super many-time theory.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's a name that definitely grabs my attention.
Yeah.
What exactly was that about?
It's a pretty complex concept,
Okay.
but it ended up being a key to his later breakthrough in QED. What's fascinating is how Tomonaga, even during wartime,
Yeah.
was exploring multiple complex areas of physics simultaneously.
Yeah.
That seems to have been his style, always pushing the boundaries.
So the war ends, and Tomonaga becomes a professor at the Tokyo University of Education, which would later become Tsukuba University.
Right.
And this is where we start to see his path to the Nobel Prize
Right.
really take shape.
He comes across a 1939 paper by the American physicist Sidney Dankoff,
Okay.
who was trying to solve a major problem in QED,
Right.
the issue of infinities popping up in calculations.
Infinities in physics. That sounds like more than a minor inconvenience.
It was a huge problem. These infinities were making QED, which is
Yeah.
supposed to explain the interaction of light and matter,
Yeah.
essentially nonsensical.
So how did Tomonaga deal with this? How did he tackle these infinities that were popping up everywhere?
Well, he had a truly brilliant insight.
Okay.
He realized that Dankoff had missed a term in his calculations. And by applying his super many-time theory, remember that from his wartime research?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's amazing how those seemingly separate areas of his work came together.
It really is.
Yeah.
Tomonaga was able to correct Dankoff's error, essentially taming those infinities and getting finite results.
Wow.
And that's what we call renormalization.
Okay, I have to admit, renormalization sounds a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Can you break it down for me? How does it work?
Well, imagine trying to calculate the energy of an electron.
Okay.
Seems straightforward, right?
Yeah.
But in QED, when you try to do that, you end up with these infinite values popping up, making the calculation meaningless.
Yeah.
Renormalization is a way to deal with those infinities mathematically.
Okay.
to essentially renormalize them and get a sensible finite answer.
So it's not just about ignoring the infinities, it's about finding a way to make sense of them within the calculations.
Exactly. And what makes Tomonaga's work even more remarkable is that he developed this technique independently at the same time as the American physicist Julian Schwinger, who was using a completely different approach.
It's incredible to think that two physicists on opposite sides of the world, facing very different circumstances, arrived at the same solution to such a complex problem.
It really speaks to the universality of science.
Yeah.
But here's where the mystery of Tomonaga's relative obscurity deepens.
Okay.
Despite this groundbreaking work, he wasn't instantly catapulted to international fame.
Why not? I mean, this was a major breakthrough in physics.
Yeah.
You'd think that would make headlines.
You would think so.
Yeah.
But remember, this is post-war Japan.
Right.
Communication and scientific exchange were still recovering from the disruptions of the war.
So you're saying that maybe his work just didn't reach the right people quickly enough?
That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Schwinger and Feynman were working in the U.S.,
Right.
where there was a much more established infrastructure for scientific communication.
Okay.
But there's another factor we should consider: Tomonaga's personality.
What do you mean?
From everything we know, Tomonaga was a very modest, even shy individual.
Huh.
He wasn't someone who sought the limelight.
Oh.
In contrast, someone like Feynman was a master of self-promotion.
Right.
He loved to explain his work, to engage with the public, to make physics fun and accessible.
So you think that might have played a role in why Tomonaga isn't as well known as some of his contemporaries?
It's possible.
It makes you wonder about the role of personality and communication skills in achieving recognition in science, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even though international recognition came slowly, Tomonaga's brilliance didn't go unnoticed forever.
Okay.
In 1949, he received an invitation that would change his life.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What invitation was this?
It was from Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb.
Wow.
Oppenheimer was heading the Institute for Advanced Study at Princeton at the time,
Okay.
and he invited Tomonaga to come and work there.
Wow. That's like getting called up to the major leagues of physics.
It is.
What was it like for Tomonaga to be at Princeton, surrounded by such incredible minds?
It's just been an amazing experience.
Yeah?
Einstein was there, Kurt Gödel, John von Neumann.
Wow.
It was a gathering place for the intellectual elite of the time.
Yeah.
And Tomonaga certainly held his own. He delved into what's known as the many-body problem.
Okay, remind me again, what's the many-body problem?
It's essentially about figuring out how large groups of particles interact with each other.
Oh.
Think about all the electrons in a piece of metal or the atoms in a liquid.
Right.
These are incredibly complex systems.
It sounds like he was going from one incredibly challenging problem to another.
He was.
This guy never seemed to stop.
He was incredibly driven, always looking for new puzzles to solve.
Wow.
But after a year at Princeton, Tomonaga decided to return to Japan.
Okay.
And there he made another significant contribution to physics.
Right.
He proposed the Tomonaga-Ledinger liquid model.
And what does that model explain?
It describes the behavior of electrons in one-dimensional systems,
Okay.
which may sound niche, but it's had a huge impact on condensed matter physics.
So we're going from the vastness of the universe down to the tiny world of electrons.
We are.
It's incredible how Tomonaga's work spans such a wide range of scales.
It is. And remember that throughout all of this, he was also instrumental in rebuilding Japan's scientific infrastructure after the war,
Oh, wow.
playing a key role in founding the Institute for Nuclear Study at the University of Tokyo. He was a scientist, a leader, and a builder.
And finally, in 1965, after all this incredible work, he receives that long-awaited call from Stockholm.
The Nobel Prize in Physics,
Wow.
shared with Schwinger and Feynman for their independent contributions to QED and renormalization.
Wow.
It was a testament to his brilliance, his perseverance, and his ability to make groundbreaking discoveries despite facing some incredible challenges.
Yeah, it really is amazing to think, after all, that he still wanted to do more physics. Winning a Nobel Prize would be like the top for most people.
Yeah.
But for Tomonaga, it seemed like just another step in his journey.
That's right. His drive to explore and understand never wavered.
Yeah.
But his story, like all of ours, does have an end. In 1979, Tomonaga passed away in Tokyo from throat cancer.
It's a reminder that even the most brilliant minds aren't immune to the fragility of life.
Yeah.
But their work, their ideas, those things live on.
For sure.
And in Tomonaga's case, he left behind a legacy of pushing the boundaries of knowledge, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges. I mean, can you imagine making such significant contributions to theoretical physics while your country is at war?
It's incredible, really a testament to his dedication and resilience.
Makes you wonder how much more he might have accomplished if the circumstances had been different.
That's a really thought-provoking question.
Yeah, then it makes you think about how the course of scientific progress is affected by events in the wider world.
Yeah.
Do conflict and upheaval stifle innovation, or can they, in some strange way, act as a catalyst?
Tomonaga's story seems to suggest that even amidst chaos, the human mind can still strive for understanding. But it also makes you consider the importance of communication and collaboration in science.
Yeah.
What if his work had been lost or delayed because of the war, because of language barriers?
Right.
How might that have impacted the development of QED?
We might be living in a very different world today.
We might.
It really underscores the interconnected nature of the scientific community.
Yeah.
The way ideas flow across borders and build upon each other.
Definitely.
And it emphasizes the importance of seeking out those voices that might be hidden.
Right.
Those contributions that might not have received the recognition they deserve.
Absolutely.
So to our listener, we leave you with this as you delve deeper into Tomonaga's work and the world of QED.
Okay.
Remember those questions we've been pondering.
Yeah.
Think about how the global context shapes scientific progress.
Right.
Look for the unsung heroes, the hidden figures who have helped shape our understanding of the universe. And most importantly, consider how we can all contribute to creating an environment where brilliant minds, regardless of where they come from or what challenges they face, can thrive and share their discoveries with the world.
Because ultimately, the pursuit of knowledge is a collective endeavor.
Right.
It's about pushing the boundaries of what we know together for the benefit of all humankind.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of Shinichiro Tomonaga. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never lose your sense of wonder.